Hello there, everybody, and today I'm reviewing Season 5 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We have made it to the final season of this show. I can't believe we made it this far. So, this is now called Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, there isn't specific storylines that's been ongoing. It's kind of just breaking up into arcs. So this is the first arc of the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not to get confused with the current one from the Mutant Mayhem Tmnt. But I guess they called it Tales because they were not really focusing on the main story. So we just got more Elseworld stories. Or they kind of just were finishing off some storylines with the show. So the first arc is Scroll of the Demodragon. So I got a lot to say about this episode. So it opens with Casey Jones and Raph chasing down what looks to be some hooded figure. And they're trying to take him down, but they are ambushed by a bunch of these same strange looking creatures that are hooded, and they get beaten up, and it cuts to the new intro of the show. We're no longer hearing the iconic theme song of this version of the show. Instead, it's more of like I don't know if you can say a 2D style animation, but like we see the turtles, and we first see like a canister of ooze, and then the turtles appear after Splinter, but then we see like a bunch of flashes of the turtles fighting, and then we get the turtles' names, and we get a bunch of lines. So yeah, this intro is pretty cool, but it's not as good as like the iconic theme song of this show. And I do like this touch, though. Once they get to the turtles running on the building, we actually see who they're going up against. This is I'm not going to spoil it, but if you watch it, you'll see. Then we get the title card, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this time, the turtles are hanging out at the sewer lair, and Mikey has managed to track down copies of Space Heroes: The Next Generation. So apparently it's a 90s version, and honestly, I consider it like a Star Trek ripoff, since it's meant to make fun of shows like Star Trek. And even Leo happily says Mikey is on pizza, and then he just says Booyakasha. But Leo watches it. He loves it, but the other guys don't. They say, and I like how Donnie's like, this is even worse than the other Space Heroes. But it's interrupted when Raph and Casey show up, bruised up, and they said what happened, and they were ambushed, and after witnessing a sacrifice, that being one of these hooded figures trying to inject a stranger with mutagen. But Casey interrupts the story by calling Raph the sidekick, even though the turtles view Casey as a sidekick. But yeah, he interprets the story, and then they gotta find out where these people come from. So the turtles go into the sewer, and they're going to implant trackers. They use like these cuckoo clock looking tracker things, but they managed to I think track down one of these goons. But I think the goon, like, literally, they chase it, and they find like I think like a hidden passage later in the episode. But they track these creatures down. I think Mikey and Leo team up to these creatures. They go into like some museum that doesn't have security, but they find like some scroll. But earlier we were seeing like these cult leaders meet up with another hooded figure who looks to be the cult leader. I'll reveal who it is later, but it looks like they're looking for a scroll of a Demodragon. And so these cult dudes are like saying some ritual as they're literally using the scroll, and it literally causes the fire to go up. But they are interrupted by Leo and Mikey, who ambush them. But they give like creepy grins, and then they all escape outside, but they almost get the scroll, Leo and Mikey, but it turns out they end up getting brutally beat up, and they end up getting knocked out, and our fellow creatures manage to get away. But what happens next is like I think they're waken up by the turtles and the other turtles, but they're going to try to find where these creatures come from, and they start researching, and they find out what they could be after is a Demodragon named Kavaxas, who goes all the way back to ancient times, who is like a part of some realm of Demodragons. But what happens next is the turtles end up finding one of these goons, and it turns out they're using like a secret passage. And they open that secret passage, and they find a secret entrance to the sewer, and they find like some lair, and they hear like a bunch of cult leaders talking, and it turns out there is a ceremony for these cultists. And we find out what they are later in the show, but they're saying some literal, I forget how to say it, but it's like Ababa Sikula Makbaka. But it turns out who the cult leader is no other than Tiger Claw, who has returned, who is ready to summon a Demodragon. And he even puts like a pentagram, and the cult leaders are ready. But the turtles and their allies are ambushed, and they are ready to witness Kavaxas. And even Leo's like, "Why'd you come back? The foot are dead." And then Tiger Claw's like, "I will never come back. We will never rest," or something. But Tiger Claw ends up pulling out the scroll, and he says the ritual, and unleashes is Kavaxas. So Kavaxas is voiced by the legendary Luke Skywalker himself, the Joker, as well. And Mark Hamill, he voices Kavaxas, and he is easily the best villain of this show. One of the best. He is the most powerful, and people are going to say he's overpowered, but that's the whole point. But the turtles are almost set free, but they are forced to fight Kavaxas. And of course, it doesn't go well. Kavaxas easily takes out the turtles like they're nothing. He's more powerful than the Super Shredder. Like, he just swipes all of them away, and Leo tries to break him with his swords, but nope, it just shatters right through Kavaxas like it's nothing. And so, but he tries to breathe his fire after knocking Donnie down. And while Raph and Casey try to pick him up, he's about to throw his fire until April jumps in and uses her force field on Kavaxas. But it turns out the only way to control Kavaxas is Tiger Claw has this seal, this rock circle thing that controls Kavaxas. It's not really established what it does other than it controls Kavaxas. I want to get more into the seal later in these episode reviews, but Kavaxas is controlled to take out the turtles. He almost takes out Tiger Claw, but he goes to his command, and Kavaxas actually, once he learns April's telekinesis powers, he literally is saying how he's going to take it away, and he literally just goes up to April and tries to take it, but she's wondering why she can't force him to move, but Kavaxas is because he's not part of this realm. So the turtles are almost taken out until Mikey ends up throwing some smoke bomb at him, and they all manage to get out of there in the nick of time. But Kavaxas tries to follow. He breathes through his fire, but Tiger Claw tells him to stop. But the turtles try to gather their thoughts of what happened. They determine that Kavaxas is even more powerful than Super Shredder. but they don't know what they're going to do next. But we find out why Tiger Claw has summoned the Demodragon in the first place. He wants to resurrect the Shredder. So yeah, we're probably going to see the return of Shredder. I'm not going to spoil anything, even though I've seen this show. But this episode was easily good. It was I'd probably give it a 10 or a 9. I don't know, whatever you want to say. It could be. But this episode was really good. Mark Hamill is really good as Kavaxas because he just gives that inner voice in the Demodragon. It kind of reminds me of who he played in Avatar. So, but it fits Mark Hamill's voice. Like, he can do really good with voice acting. So it's wild that Mark Hamill is in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he for some reason's on the top cast list on the Google search for this show. But I don't know. It's just like even though he's only in 5 episodes, I think only 3 actually or 4 in this show. But yeah, I guess because Mark Hamill's a top celebrity. But that's a little weird rant. But this episode was easily good. So the next episode is, I think it's called The Forgotten Swordsman. So that should be fun. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and Turtle Power.